What is your favorite superhero film and why? Constantine is full of amazing moments. I love that movie. The scene where the devil crawls down from the ceiling. So good. Peter Stormare is a damn good devil. Up there with Al Pacino. Viggo Mortensen in The Prophecy might be the best devil for me. Been a lot of great ones mentioned. But I'm really partial to Hellboy. Such a great film, and the sequel was also fantastic. Any thoughts on the new one? I haven't seen it. I need to watch it. But I'll be really surprised if it matches up to the original too. They should have just made the last movie in the trilogy. Starting a new film just threw me off. I didn't like the new Hellboy's design. Just about every Hellboy fan or comic book fan that I've met wanted that third film instead of a reboot. I guess the studio thought that they'd get more new viewers with a fresh franchise. But it was the wrong choice for film quality. Blade. Favorite Marvel character? Some motherfucker is always trying to ice skate uphill. What the fuck does that mean? Wesley Snipes. Now I'm mad nobody asked him that. Set themselves up for failure is what it means, BTW. Mystery Man. If only because of the Smash Mouth song. But there was so much more to love about the movie. Waffle ma on I am the waffle, golden crispy bad guys are history. Unironically the funniest thing Dane Cook has done. Oh my god, that was Dane Cook. That was peak Dane Cook. Dread fuck. That movie blew my mind. Went in with low expectations and it basically gave me exactly what I wanted in an action movie. No filler. Just pure action. Edit. Also gave me my man crush on Karl Urban. Such a badass. In case you have forgotten. This block operates under the same rules as the rest of the city. Mama is not the law. I am the law. As for you, Mama. Judgment time. I love how Urban delivers the I am the law line. It's so quiet and understated when you know everyone was expecting a Stallone-style I am the law. I love that he goes the entire movie without showing his face. His jaw did overtime. Though. TMNT 1990. Honestly, that movie has stood the test of time by miles. The costumes still look perfectly acceptable compared to aged CGI. The tone and violence levels were perfect. It's a little heavy for younger kids, but maybe I'm just older now. Like I can't stomach watching Splinter say goodbye to the turtles anymore, but I've lost my pops, so it's probably just on me. Jim Henson puppets and costumes stand the test of time. Dark Crystal still looks fucking dope. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Not just the storyline is almost impeccable and amazing, but the soundtrack is IT. So many different vibes and diversity to use. Plus it was about time we got a Spider-Man that wasn't Peter Parker as the protagonist. And the way they framed and shot so much of it to look like a comic book was super cool. Laughing face. Pretty sure others have said it. But for me it's Iron Man, the first one to begin the entire franchise. RDJ is bloody brilliant and carries the film and becomes one with the character. If this film miscasted or if RDJ didn't nail it the way he did, there wouldn't be a Marvel movie franchise that we know. But honorable mention to Daredevil on Netflix. I know it's a show and not a film, but it's pretty good. Batman, 1989, because it is so dark and grimy. Exactly how I have and always will think of Batman. I loved Tim Burton's Batman films. I was totally gonna write this. The best thing about these movies is definitely the noir atmosphere and the music. Don't even get me started on the amazing music by Danny Elfman that sets the mood perfectly. Spider-Man 2. Perfectly depicts the character and why he is so relatable. He's just a kid. He's just a kid. A 29-year-old kid. When folks hit their 40s/50s, That is a commonly developed perception of people in their 20s. Might catch flack for this, but Sky High. Not the best movie by any means, but I enjoyed it and it brings back some good memories. I love Sky High. It's so damn corny and silly. But in the best way. Bruce Campbell was amazing in this movie. Are you talking about Gym Teacher Man? Coach #boomer. The Incredibles is up there for me. Such wholesome. I love how The Incredibles is in a lot of ways a meta commentary on superheroes before superhero movies and the subsequent meta superhero commentary movies became big. It predicted the future of superhero movies. It did get wrong about how it places so much importance on secret identities when the MCU essentially shat on the concept. It seems they're even ditching it with Spider-Man. It's a shame because that's one of the biggest things about being a superhero, and while it's fine not all heroes have one, a few should. Logan. I loved Logan because it wasn't a superhero movie where the protagonist is trying to save the world or the universe where millions of lives are at stake. It was just a man at the end of his life trying to do the right thing for the people he cared about. They made a Western with Wolverine. It worked. Down to a horse, cars, chase split up by a train. I have a certain nostalgia for the original Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. It had lots of humor, a good origin story and a decent romantic subplot. Mostly, though, I wasn't burned out by the dozens of superhero movies that have been produced since and come to dominate the movie market. I loved the original suit. It seemed really heavy. And I loved the little servo motor sounds. I have a soft spot for Mark I too. All the bulk, roughness and flaws made it feel real. More so than any other Iron Man suit. Honestly. The suits were amazing until Iron Man 3. Then they became a little too outrageous for my liking. Even Iron Man 2 made the suit a little too magic. But 3 made it completely fantasy nanotech, which just doesn't feel grounded in the real world. Superman, 1978. It'd been years since anyone had taken superheroes seriously at all, and the casting was so good. I was old enough to have seen it in the theater and was blown away. I am only 18 and wholeheartedly blame my parents for my love of Superman. I was going through the attic one day, I was like 5. So this was in like 2006. And I found a VHS tape of Superman, took it downstairs and watched it, and instantly fell in love with Superman. There will never be a better Clark Kent or Superman than Christopher Reeve. They nailed all the roles in that, from Superman to Lois and Lex. My favorite line from the movie is "I've got you, ma'am. You got me. Who's got you?" Sorry for the tangent, I just love Superman and that movie so much. Miss Teshmacherer. Guardians of the Galaxy. The humor had me hooked. On a feeling. Perhaps. No. He's just high. On believing. Maybe. That you're in love. Is it? Dark Knight. It's what made me love Batman. The Dark Knight was more like a supervillain movie where the good guys lose everything to win against the bad guy. The Joker's character was written so well. It needed a performance of a lifetime, and Ledger delivered it. For sure. Goosebumps every time Joker gives a speech. And you just feel the tension slowly rising until it's almost unbearable. Gotta give Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard some credit for the character too. The soundtrack for the Dark Knight trilogy was amazing. Particularly the Joker's unmistakable and harrowing theme. Yes. The last 20 minutes of that film are scored absolutely perfectly. The bit when it's Batman having to go up against all of the SWAT members remains one of my favorite scored moments in a film. Blade. Best vampire hunter movie to date. And first rated R Marvel movie. Deadpool. Suits my type of humor and the action is perfect. You can pinpoint the exact moment that Reddit fell in love with Ryan Reynolds as when this movie was released. You couldn't get a more perfect casting. Edit, grammar. His style of humor, even in Van Wilder and Waiting, are quite perfect for that character. You have to admit. He's also hilarious in Hobbs and Shaw. Guess what? I stabbed a guy with a brick. Turns out it's not that hard. V for Vendetta. Literally watching it right now, everybody is special. Everybody. Everybody is a hero. A lover. A fool. A villain. Everybody. Everybody has their story to tell. X-Men, First Class. I thought that was a great reboot to the franchise. And can I just say, Michael Fassbender during that scene when he was in Argentina, fighting Nazis. Wow. First Class is the only movie that, for me, feels anything like the X-Men of the comics. Easily my favorite of those. The hopelessness in the beginning of Days of Futures Past also was similar to X-Men comics. Unbreakable. Such a good movie. It works so well because it makes comic books integral to its story. It's a firmly grounded origin story in what should be the twilight of any other superhero's origin story, because power can come only when you let it come. It uses cinematography to make it look like a comic book. It uses color to show themes. It's just perfection. HBO has been running Glass quite a bit lately. I need to sit down and pay attention to the background colors in that one. M. Night loves to use colors as clues. And it wasn't until the third or fourth time of half watching Glass that I started to notice the colors in it. Now I need to put my attention to it again. Mask of the Phantasm. Thank you, this and the flashback in Return of the Joker. Perfection. If I was sober I'd say Winter Soldier or Wonder Woman. But I'm had 3 drinks, so Shazam. Shazam. Had a really strong heart to it. Honestly. I loved that movie. Billy and his siblings are all genuinely great characters and you're really rooting for them the whole film. Also, they weren't afraid to make his mom a selfish, kinda garbage person. Too often they try to give a parent deserting their kid some kind of noble spin. But in this case she was a dumb, selfish kid who went on to make precisely nothing of herself. As someone who's seen a few too many people tie themselves in knots trying to be loved by parents who aren't ever going to even try, I appreciated the contrast of fucked up birth families and a loving family of choice. And as CinemaWins said, if it encourages just one family to become foster parents for a kid, that would be completely worth it. Tim Burton's Batman. Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton as Batman. The gothic backdrop and dark tones of the film. I loved it and still very much do. Megamind. Case closed. And I love you, Random Citizen. There is no Easter Bunny. There is no Tooth Fairy and there is no Queen of England. That line isn't going to age well. Push stars Chris Evans and a young Dakota Fanning. Interesting characters. Interesting powers, and I like the world and setting a lot. Definitely an underrated movie. I had to look this up because I thought, that's the movie with Hayden Christensen. Now I know that Jumper was the movie I was thinking of and that I have not seen. Push. We'll watch soon.